Thank you, Smithy. It's great to be here. Thank you very much for having me. Yes. Despite the I've been speedrunning now for about 4 years properly. This is actually my first ever dedicated Metal Gear Solid 2 marathon appearance. Last year I did really longathon, and Metal Gear Solid 2 was part of the trilogy. This is the first time I've ever actually just done Metal Gear Solid 2 on its own for a marathon. So we're gonna be doing very easy. We play New Game Plus. We start from a save file because there's a 7-minute cutscene that we can skip on New Game Plus, which you can't skip on not New Game Plus. And time will start. I'm going to select my radar type, and then there's going to be a black screen appear with a bit of text. As soon as that text disappears, time will start. So we will get going in 3, 2, 1, and start. So Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, I'm running this on the PC Master Collection Edition. Which is a port of the HD edition that was released all the way back when for the PS3 and Xbox 360. It's great that we finally have these games in a really nice collection like this. And we start off on a tanker. So we're on a tanker in the middle of the Hudson River. And you might be thinking, hang on, you're on a tanker in a big giant river. Surely there's got to be some fish, and you would be wrong. Of all 5 games in the Master Collection, only one of them has no fish, and that game is the original Metal Gear from 1987. Metal Gear Solid 2 does have some fish in it. Thankfully, those fish are during a cutscene that, because we're speedrunning, we will not be watching. We will be skipping that cutscene very, very quickly to make sure that we see no fish. But every other game in the Master Collection, apart from, again, Metal Gear 1987 does not have any fish in it whatsoever, at least not that I could find. We have our first boss here. This is Olga. She's taking a left route here. We're just going to wait for her to come around there. Going to shoot her a couple of times, and she's going to then head back round. She's going to have a little bit of dialogue here. I grew up on the battlefield. Conflict and victory were my parents. Beautiful, beautiful line. Oh, I tried to shoot in the head there. There we go. I am shooting her with a tranquilizer gun. Don't worry, we're not killing her. One more shot to the head, and she should be good. If I can... Oh, she's moving over. There we go. Boom. And that's the first boss. First boss has already been defeated. That's how quick it happens. This is the prologue, the tanker incident, where we play as Snake. Not long after this, we will be moving on to the main portion of the game, where we say bye-bye to Snake, and we will be playing as Raiden. We're going to rush through the tanker as quickly as possible. We're going to come to what's still a relatively new discovery in Metal Gear Solid 2. It's just called the Prozac skip. So called because it was discovered by a runner named Chewable Prozac. It's a skip that works. It only has a couple of uses in Metal Gear Solid 2. One of them is here, and the other is actually in a different game mode called Snake Tales. So we won't be seeing that there. But what we're going to be doing, it's going to be in this room. We're going to throw a throwable item. I've got some magazines that I can use. And spinning around 180 degrees, and that is going to cause Snake's hitbox to trigger a loading zone. So throw, turn, and there we go. We are now into the engine room. We've now skipped the whole of the engine room. The engine room is a really long room, which we really don't want to have to deal with. So yeah, we just skip the engine room just like that. Shoot one of these sensors, and we're through. We are nearly done with the tanker. The tanker is a very, very fast section of the game. We get a little bit of dialogue from the tannoy system. Soon, I'm waiting for the dialogue to end because there's a bit of time. 1, 2, 3. Shoots. Hold him up. How we get past that guy. Need to try and make sure I shoot that guy before he can start an alert. There's some extra ammo I want there. Take that guy out just in case. And we're going to move on to our second boss fight. It's not really a boss fight. This is the guard rush. There's always a guard rush in the Metal Gear games. So we're going to literally dive into this fight. And we want to try and take out these guys as quickly as possible. Nice. That's the first, and there's going to be 3 more guys that come around the corner. Beautiful. That was a really, really nice boss fight. Next glitch. The glitches come thick and fast in the tanker. There's not actually that many glitches in the plant section, but we've got our next glitch. This is called the ladder glitch. I'm going to get onto the ladder whilst holding a camera. Hop over there, and boom, we skip the ladders just like that. There is actually 2 different... Oh, I'm going to have to take that guy out, because otherwise when he unfreezes, he will cause an alert. There's 2 different versions of the ladder glitch. There's one that's slightly faster, but it's a lot more tricky. So it's nice to do the easier one and get it first try. Then we'll just hold these guys up just so that I can get past them. Quick roll over there. And move into the final room of the tanker. Now, because this game was originally made for 4x3, obviously this was originally released on the PlayStation 2. It was originally in 4x3. When it then got moved to the HD edition with 16x9, we found that we could take all 4 photos of Ray there very, very easily just from 2 spots. You can't do that on the original PlayStation 2 version. You have to be in 16x9 to take all 4 photos. So we wanted a photo of the front left, front right, front middle, and also one of the Marines logo, which, believe it or not, I did take a photo of the Marines logo. The way the Marines logo works is you don't actually have to see the Marines logo in the photo. The photo just needs to have been taken in the direction of the Marines logo. That's how the game works out whether you've taken the picture or not. And skip the fish. There we go. We have successfully skipped the fish cutscene. No fit. We will continue as we should do with no fish in this speedrun. It's the only time I found any fish in this game. There's a little cutscene where Raiden is first entering the plant. He goes through a little hole in the fence which Snake has made before him, and yeah, he's surrounded by some fish because we're now in the middle of the ocean. We're on what's called the plant, and the plant was created because the tanker that we were just on, that took 2 years has passed. So 2 years ago, that tanker sunk, and it supposedly created a large oil spill. No fish confirmed. It supposedly created a large oil spill, and the plant was therefore created in order to clean up that oil spill. It's all rubbish. It's all a big government conspiracy. We'll find out about that later. Except we won't, because we're not going to watch the absolute hours and hours of cutscenes that this game contains. So whilst these guards are waking up, all waiting for the elevator to come down, we're just going to run back here and grab the M9. Yeah, I have to grab it now. I just prefer to have it now. Make sure I've definitely got enough ammo. There we go. Grab the M9. So I've talked about this, and I've talked about Metal Gear, and said about Metal Gear not having any fish. So what about the other 3 games? There are 5 games in the Master Collection, and it's what I've been running and practicing for most of the second half of last year. It was the weekend before Christmas. I ran all 5 games in the Master Collection back to back. So I wanted to work out which of those games would be suitable to submit to No Fish. So Metal Gear. Yep, that's fine. There are no fish in Metal Gear. Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, another MSX2 game from 1991. Unfortunately, that was not eligible. There's no fish. You don't like come across any fish in the world, but there's 3 different types of ration in Metal Gear 2, and one of those rations contains fish. So whilst you don't see the fish because all you see is a tin, Snake might actually consume some fish, and you'd certainly see the word fish. So Metal Gear 2 was out. Metal Gear Solid 3, which is probably the game at the moment I'm most known for running in various marathons and stuff. Loads of fish in Metal Gear Solid. We swim through rivers of fish. We swim through a huge swamp of fish. So many fish in Metal Gear Solid 3. So that was out. But the interesting one was Metal Gear Solid 1. Now, Metal Gear Solid 1 takes place in a nuclear warhead disposal facility in the middle of Alaska. There's no oceans. There's no nothing like that. So you might think, "Oh, that surely there's no fish in that." And throughout the whole game, we looked, we searched. Is there a canteen where there might be fish? Nope, nothing. No fish whatsoever. And then we got to the credits. Now, in a speedrun marathon setting, we don't watch the credits for a Metal Gear game. Because they're very long and no one wants to sit through, not 10 minutes. It's just under 10 minutes of credits for this game, so don't worry, we won't be watching the credits at the end of the run. But technically, for a speedrun, you do have to watch the credits. And Metal Gear Solid 1's credits uses some footage of just nature. And at one point during the credits, there is footage of a bear catching a fish in a river. So Metal Gear Solid 1 was out. As we determined that whilst technically you wouldn't see it in the marathon, you do technically see it in a speedrun. So we had to rule Metal Gear Solid 1 out. Anyway, back to that's all of the fish that we can ignore. So maybe I'll have to come back for Go Fish later in the year and show off all the lovely fish that appear in Metal Gear Solid 3. We're now into the main sort of portion of the first half of the plant. This is the bomb disposal section. Ow, that wasn't very nice. This is the bomb disposal section. So we learned that there's a mad bomber called Fat Man. He is not named because of his weight. He is named after the Fat Man nuclear weapon. He is also a fat man, but that's not why he's called Fat Man. And he has hidden the C4 bombs around. He's hidden all of these bombs around the plant, and we're going to have to go and take them all out. There is one C4 on every strut. So we're going to visit every strut and take each of them out. There's no randomness. They are always in the same place. It's only when you bump the difficulty up that you start getting additional ones and ones in slightly different places. So they're all relatively straightforward to find. I'm going to run over here, grab some SOCOM ammo. We're also going to grab this cardboard box. Cardboard boxes in MGS2 act as fast travel. We're going to be using those because we're doing what's called the anti-clockwise route. So the tanker is the plant is one giant circle. And when doing bomb disposal, we can go clockwise or we can go anti-clockwise. I almost always go anti-clockwise because it's a little bit more interesting. On very easy difficulty, it actually doesn't make any difference. As you bump the difficulties up, anti-clockwise does start to become more important. A little glitch there. The C4 was on the other side of that little panel. And as long as you're in the exact right spot, you can spray it from that side, which is a nice little time save. So yeah, we go anti-clockwise because it's a little bit more interesting. It means we have to get 2 cardboard boxes and we get to use the fast travel system. And the boxes are quite powerful in the game. As I say, we can use them for fast travel. We can also use them to like scare guards, which you'll see in a little bit. We're gonna take that guy out. There's gonna be another guy there, so we take him out, roll past him, and into strut F. Let's take this guy out. You'll see that with my tranquilizer gun, taking a guard out is as simple as just shooting them once. This is the great thing about very easy difficulty is an absolute blast through the game. the PC version of Substance, which came out in like 2003, is one of the most popular games in the series. I think it's the second most popular game in the series after Rising. Rising is actually more popular. Yeah, because Very Easy is just a very fast blast. It's blasted the game. It's been very well optimized. I'd love to say that you are going to see a truly optimized run of the game. Sadly, that is not me. But I've been improving. My last 2 runs of this have both been PBs, so I'm hoping for something good this run. So we're now going to head up onto the heliport, take out another bomb, grab another cardboard box, and head back down. Fairly straightforward. We do get a little cutscene here. During that cutscene, Raiden sees Olga chatting to someone over her radio. It seems Olga survived the tanker incident, which we later learn thanks to Snake rescuing her, even though he fought her. So the next bomb is here underneath the Harrier. Notice that there's a Harrier here. We're going to come back here later, and suddenly that Harrier is going to have disappeared for some reason, which might be a sign of things to come. Another little trick that I've been doing, which I haven't really mentioned, is called the coolant rise. You may have noticed that sometimes when I've been crawling on the floor, I've equipped my coolant spray and then unequipped it. And as I've stood up, it completely removes the animation of Raiden standing up. If you're ever right down on the floor and you want to get up quickly, you quickly equip and unequip the coolant spray as you push X. We've got a little glitch here. By aiming in exactly the right direction there, we can hop up on there, which you shouldn't be able to do. And then we use box 1 to travel back to Strut C, the dining hall. So the fast travel there is completely intended. That is an intended mechanic in the game. We use that to grab sensor B, which you can see that we've got sensor A equipped at the moment. This is what's sniffing out the C4s. Sensor B is just another one which is required for the game. Gonna hop across here, gonna shoot him. And into Strut D and the last C4. Well, the last C4 of this section. After this, we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to do. But the first part of this is done. So it's under here. We're gonna quickly take out that guy. Spray. So that's all 6 struts now done. And rather than start heading towards where we know the next one's going to be, so the next one is going to be the bottom of Strut A, right where we started the plant section. We're going to have to go back to there. We are now 1 strut over from the parcel room, which is where we fast travelled, and that's why we grabbed 2 boxes, because we're now going to use that box to fast travel back to Strut A again. So same trick. We'll do that little shot, which will allow me to jump up on the conveyor belt. And that's a massive time save, being able to jump up on the conveyor belt like that. Otherwise, it's a very long trip around the conveyor system. We'll take out that guy. And as you'll see, we are now back in the parcel room. We've just approached the parcel room from the other side. So over here. So back to here, same again. Hop up on there. Want cardboard box 3 this time. That's going to take us back to Strut A. You can see we've got a timer. That's how long we've got until the bomb goes off. Now at this point we should be using sensor B to try and sniff it out, but we know exactly where it is. It's always in the same place. One of my favourite time saves of the entire run, we get into the cardboard box on the way down in here, because by getting in the cardboard box, Raiden's hitbox is slightly lowered, triggering that codec and triggering this scene transition like 1/10 of a second faster. Makes barely any difference whatsoever, but we do it anyway because it's a time save. So we're going to run all the way back, right back to where we started the whole section of the plant. In fact, we're going to go back even further. We're going to go round here this time. Stand here, and the bomb is just under there. You can just see it. And that's that bomb taken care of, but we're still not done with bomb. 6 frames is 6 frames. The more frames we can save, the better. We get you don't get to hear it, but we do get Raiden's best line, "Priority my butt." And we now get our first sort of boss fight. This is the fight against Fortune. Fortune can't be killed. Fortune has a force field around her, so this is more a letting the clock time out. There are some things we can do to speed it up. The fight is sort of determined by... Excellent, she's shooting the lights. That's what we want. The fight is kind of determined by how much stuff in the room Fortune destroys. She starts laughing, so we're going to move to the front. So hopefully we're on for a good time here. So yeah, we manipulate her a little bit. That's why I deliberately got shot at the start there. We now want her to shoot this barrel that I'm up against. So we try and get her to shoot things that we know are going to get destroyed very quickly. Come on, Fortune, you're not doing a very good job of shooting this barrel. There we go, she shot it now. Move across to the sides. Want to shoot this barrel now. Come on, Fortune, you can do it. Nope, you missed. You missed again. Hey, she got it. And she's done. And that's the Fortune fight. As I say, it's not really a fight. But don't worry, that Raiden's first boss fight is very quickly approaching. So at the end of the fight, we learn that Fat Man's got another bomb. He's put another bomb out, and he's asking for Raiden. Specifically wants Raiden to come and deal with the bomb. So we're going to grab that chaff grenade whilst avoiding 2 claymore mines that are on the floor there. That was nice. That's one of those tricks where you don't appreciate that how good that bit of movement was unless it goes wrong. But there are 2 claymore mines, which is very easy to trigger there. Power of the cardboard box. We're going to... Oh, no, that guard's not going to look at me. Never mind. We'll do it with this guard instead. There's going to be a guard in here, and we're going to scare him with the box. He's going to run away. Watch this. Ah! So yeah, little trick you can do if you get spotted by a guard and immediately get in the box, they'll just run away and call in a radio. One of the other useful things about the cardboard box, which we shouldn't see, if I got caught here, this would be a good time to see it. Whenever Raiden gets shot, he'll flinch and stop, but you don't flinch if you're in the box. So another really useful part of the cardboard box. We're going to head back up to the heliport, because this is where the bomb is. And then we're going to have our first real boss fight. This will be the boss fight against Fat Man. Where, guess what? We're going to have more bombs to deal with. There you go, you can see the bomb right there in the open. That is not even trying to put them in places that would actually cause damage. Alright, so this is Raiden's first boss fight, Fat Man. Gonna shoot him a few times there, shoot him in the head, and now we do have bombs to take care of in the middle of it. So we'll take care of that one. Hadn't actually... Ooh, dear. Okay, he's dead. Little bit awkward there, but we got through it. So that is Fat Man. And his final bomb, he's lying on top of. Spray that. That's taken care of. And we are done with... That's it. We're done with bombs. No more bombs. The bomber is dead. The bombs have been frozen. We are good to move on to Act 2 of the plant. So our next job, while we're here on the plant, is we have a major VIP to rescue. That VIP being the President of the United States is here. He was here for an inspection of the facility, and then terrorists took over, and we need to try and rescue him. We don't know where he's being held, but luckily this ninja that suddenly turned up out of nowhere does know someone who knows where he's being held. and that is a guy named Richard Ames. So we are going to go and find and attempt to rescue Richard Ames. So we're going to head to Shell 1 now. The Cyborg Ninja's given us one of the given us a uniform for the guards in Shell 1 core. So over here, and this bridge is now going to take us to the Shell 1 core area. Our outfit is not yet complete though. We still need a gun. Thankfully on very easy there is an AK-74U here in the building. Any other difficulty would have had to go to the warehouse and grab a new one, but there's one right here for us. So we'll equip that, and now we successfully look like one of the Shell 1 guards. Except I do have some sunglasses on, because this is New Game Plus. Actually, technically, because I've got sunglasses on, this is New Game Plus Plus. Don't worry about it. We're going to head down to B2, because we need a directional microphone in order to find Ames. I'm going to do a trick here called the Claymore trick, where shoot this Claymore. That's going to trigger an alert. I'll run down these stairs. Now, if I'm in an alert status, guards know that I am the enemy. Evasion and caution, however, they're absolutely fine with it. But by shooting that Claymore and taking that alert, nobody saw me. All of the guards got out of the way, so I could easily get that easily grab the D-mic. But most importantly, the elevator door didn't close. We don't have to wait for the elevator to come back down, which is really nice trick. In here, I'm gonna knock here, hope that guard runs, and he does. Wait for this guard to come round, because there's a retinal scanner here. Grab him, put him on the retinal scanner, and he's going to take us inside. You are cleared to enter. Welcome to Pizza Planet. So now that we're inside, we have to find Ames. Now we know exactly what Ames looks like. Ooh, I've got all the old guys. There he is. But the way you sort of casually in your first playthrough you try and find him, Ames has got a pacemaker, and that's why we use the directional microphone. So if I put in the directional microphone, we'll hear his pacemaker like beat. On New Game Plus, and on a new game, he's always in the same place. But on New Game Plus, he moves around. Oh, there we go. He moves around. And depending on what time of day you play, you'll get different variations of the other hostages. You may have noticed that every other hostage was an old balding guy, and that is just down to the time of day that we're playing the game. Usually when I'm streaming, it's great because I'll be playing just after 10 o'clock in the evening, and we get the best variant, which is called the Old Beauties variant, where every other hostage is an old lady, and it's really easy to spot Ames out of a room full of old ladies. So Ames died. His pacemaker caused him to have a heart attack, but he did tell us how we can find the president. The president is being held in the Shell 2 core. We're going to have to make our way over to the Shell 2 core. In order to get there, we need a sniper rifle, which we now have, because there are some more bombs. However, this is like the tanker where we shot some Semtex sensors. We're not having to defuse the bombs. We're not having to spray them this time. This is purely we shoot the sensors with a sniper rifle. So it's a bit quicker. It's a bit easier. And then we're going to have a mysterious boss fight that has not been. We have not tried to talk about or suggest might be coming up at all during the run. In we go. So we're just making our way back to the back to Strut D. Strut D has the Shell 1-2 connecting bridge. You might recognise the sediment pool. Back in here again. And there's a door just up here, which is where we're headed. In we go. There's another little codec. And the very first one is most important. Need to shoot the sensor. Excellent. If you shoot the cipher, then the whole bridge blows up and you get a game over. Shoot that one, and that one. That should be all of them. And now we do have the Harrier fight. It's probably the hardest fight in the game. I am going to try and concentrate on this fight. In practice, just beforehand, I got the best version of this fight. I likely won't get it during the run, but we'll see what happens. Nope. Already failed it. Oh, and that didn't lock on. Got an important shot here. That's not locked on either. Alright, we go into the next phase of this fight. Now we're just trying to get as much damage done to him as possible. Just going to hit him here. Should be able to hit him again. Hit him there. I actually got hit by my own explosion. And as long as I move over here quickly enough, I should be able to get one more hit in there. There we go, done. That's not too bad. If you can finish the fight at that time before we go into a bit where it kind of feels like Space Invaders, always try and get the fight done before that. That wasn't too bad. I've had better fights, I've had worse fights. So the bridge has been completely destroyed by that, so we're going to have to make our way around the outside of the bridge. I do want my chaff grenades equipped next. And we'll make our way over to Shell 2. Now, unlike Shell 1, we're not going to see that much of Shell 2. We went through every single strut of Shell 1. Shell 2, we only get to see very small bits of. We'll see the core, we'll see one interior strut, but that is about it. We do get to go around the perimeter of Strut L, so that's something. So I'm going to throw a chaff grenade here. I'm going to deliberately get spotted by that guard. The chaff grenade is going to take out the ciphers that are now on their way over. We equip and unequip this chaff grenade as I crawl just to speed up the animation a little bit. The reason for taking that alert there is there's a little cutscene that plays normally where there's a guard who really, really needs to pee and he pees over the edge. So we can skip the cutscene and have it not trigger at all by doing that. For another chaff grenade. That's going to take out these ciphers. That we can move into Shell 2. And here we get our one and only Master Collection speedrun trick, which is this. So Master Collection only, if we Alt-Tab out of the game during any moment where the game's kind of taken control of your character for a cutscene, we can move around during that cutscene. So Olga, at this point, Raiden should be just looking at Olga with the D-mic, but by Alt-Tabbing out, we can completely ignore it. And just run to the elevator. So there's only... This is... It works in this, and it works in Metal Gear Solid 3 as well. But that moment is the only time it's actually useful in a speedrun. No one has found any other moments in either game where it's actually useful and saves time. There's a couple of other places it can be used, but it just doesn't help. So now, the advantage of doing that, when we go back up, the cutscenes are still going to play, but Raiden's going to get teleported back to the start. So we'll see the cutscene now plays back again, and we're now back all the way over. So it avoids running all the way back again. You may be able to hear that the elevator is still... Oh, not quite in the right spot here. What's going on? There we go. A bit too far forwards, apparently. It's going to fire a Nikita through here. Hopefully we don't hit the president. He has a habit of getting in the way. blast him as I get back up. Just make sure I've got the stinger on my second. So yeah, you may be able to hear that the elevator noise is still going. It's quite quiet, so it might not get picked up on the stream very well. That elevator noise will continue until we go in an elevator again, so it won't last for very long. Yeah, because the cutscene took over the elevator never finished, so we just continuously get the elevator noise during this whole section. The President is dead, unfortunately. It's kind of a running theme in Metal Gear games. Presidents and other hostages end up dead. Kind of how it works. So now we can run all the way back, get in the elevator, and we're going to run down. We're going to go through a whole swimming section to meet up with Otacon's sister, Emma Emmerich, who she should be able to stop the Metal Gear. There's a little bit of backtracking here, and then just a really long swim section where nothing really exciting happens. So, Smitty, if you're around and you want to talk about the wonderful charity that we're raising money for, now be a great time for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we are raising money for Mind. We've been doing so all weekend, and today is the last day of the event. And Mind aim to ensure no one has to face a mental health problem alone. Their helplines and resources have assisted people looking for support since 1946. Today, £20 could help Mind's info line answer calls, giving people vital support. To learn more about the organisation, visit mind.org.uk. And if you're in the UK, remember, if you are a UK taxpayer, to click that at the end when you're donating on Tiltify, because the UK government will boost your donation by 25%. So, for example, if you donate £20, the charity will actually receive £25. So please get your donations in. We do have a target coming up of £20 for a category upgrade in Gimmick 2 from True Ending to 100%. It's about an extra 15 minutes, so it's quite a nice upgrade. And again, that is £20. We also have a bid war to choose the character in Diddy Kong Racing DS later on. So yeah, get your donations in and make sure to put them towards the targets in the bid wars.
Wonderful. We've got our next boss fight against Vamp. Don't blink. Oh. Kind of went a little bit wrong on a match stinger, so I'm actually just going to reset the fight.
Jack, what's going on?
Try that again.
Answer me. Jack.
Let's not just blast. Usually time this a bit nicer. That's better. There we go. That's Vamp. two attempts, but that's Vamp. Yeah, very, very easy fight there. You just blast away. One of the nice things about having this on modern systems is that can be done that quickly without any lag whatsoever. Back on every version of the HD edition. So if you're on PS3, if you're on the original PS2 version, doing that fight would lag horribly. Because just explosion, the system just couldn't handle it. The original PC version of Substance, as long as you've got a decent computer, that handles it fine. But yes, the Master Collection, now, I actually don't know how that's handled on consoles, because the Master Collection is available on all major consoles. I can't imagine that plays out very well on the Switch. I understand the Switch version of the Master Collection is not great, but yeah, it's nice and fast. But if you're a bit disappointed that you haven't seen much of Vamp, don't worry. He has a second boss fight later, which is faster. So yeah, Vamp gets a really rough deal in Metal Gear Solid 2. He has two boss fights, and they are over in an instant. So we're now escorting Emma Emmerich. This is Otacon's stepsister. We learn all about their family history, which is horrible, quite frankly. But Emma is the one who has been doing a lot of coding and work on Arsenal gear. So it turns out that the big shell that we're in, the plant, which is named the Big Shell, is all a front for a new type of Metal Gear called Arsenal Gear, which is basically a giant floating fortress. Emma helped design it and helped run computer programs for it. She now understands that it's a force of evil, and she's written a virus for us to take it out. So we are trying to get her back to Shell 1 to meet up with Snake and Otcon so that she can implement said virus. She's not very good at swimming. She also hates bugs, so she won't walk across those. So in order to get in the elevator there, we've got to give her a little hug. Yeah, it's just a hug. We're definitely giving her a hug there. And off we go. Now, if you've ever seen anyone play the PC version of Substance, you may have seen a trick here where they push Emma out of bounds. It's not a trick that is doable in the Master Collection. And in fact, recently, due to a Windows 11 update, it's no longer doable on the PC version of Substance. This is an interesting bit of news that came out lately. Windows put out some sort of update, and as a result, that trick can't be done anymore. Nobody understands why or what Microsoft changed, but we can't do it in the Master Collection, so we don't worry about it in the Master Collection. Very, very strange. There's another trick that you would normally do on earlier versions of the game as well. It's called the Emma Bump, which is right here. What you do is you would position Emma just in front of this door and then run through her into the loading zone. You can't do it on the HD edition of the game because there's a very good chance you'll crash the game. So we don't do it on this one either. Very, very strange how the different versions work and what some of them will do and some of them won't do. So we're just escorting Emma across here. There's going to be a cipher coming up, so I'm going to take that out. That's the only one we need to take out on here. There's a guard and there's another cipher, but they don't get in the way. You can see the guard and the cipher on my radar, but just ignore them. Go down to here. Whip out the coolant spray, take out the fire. Think I've got it? There we go, that's fine. And take Emma into the only strut of, apart from the core, this is the only strut of Shell 2 we actually get to go in. The sewage treatment facility, the best strut, arguably, the sewage treatment facility. Yeah, that's what we wanted to visit. Take those two guards out nice and quickly, because this strut has a ladder down to the oil fence, and that is how we're going to get back to Shell 1, because we can't go back the way we came, because that bridge got completely destroyed, if you remember, after the Harrier fight. Oh, come on, Emma. There we go. So instead, we're going to go over the oil fence. The oil fence is a bit rickety, so we're going to go one at a time. Emma's not been able to walk very well because she got tranquilizers put in her legs, but they're kind of worn off now. She's feeling okay. She can walk across there. So we're going to do a bit of twilight sniping, which includes one of the best pieces of music in the game. Very funky. So all we got to do, it's about 7 minutes, this section. And all we got to do is just keep Emma alive. Shoot any enemies that we come across. I'm going to make sure I don't look at her through the sniper scope, because if I do, there's a very good chance she'll fall over. She just randomly trips sometimes if you look at her down the sniper scope. So we won't do that. So I'm just keeping an eye out. There's a guard there. I don't want to try and shoot that guard just yet, because there's a chance that I'll spot Emma and she'll trip. We're going to get a call from Snake. Snake is now in position to help if we need him to. Now that he's called, I do want to look over here because there's going to be guards. There we go. And we just want that cipher. I think there's one more over there. And there's one more there. And that is all the ciphers for the moment. There is now nothing to do until Emma gets a little closer. So she's got to go all the way across there. For some reason, I don't know why they decided to program it this way. When Emma gets to these big sort of pylon things, she'll go around the back of them. So you're going to watch her here as she climbs up. instead of going right, which you would think is the correct way to go, she's going to go left and all the way around the outside. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they decided to do it that way. She's going to go all the way around the outside and then climb down onto that one. There is an Easter egg here. If you whip out the D mic, the directional microphone that we use to find aims, when Emma is behind the middle strut there, she runs into a character called Johnny Sasaki. You may know Johnny Sasaki if you've played Metal Gear Solid 1. He was the guard who patrols the prison. He got knocked out by Meryl. She stole his clothes. And later he guards the prison when you're in prison. He makes a reappearance in Metal Gear Solid 4 as a main character, part of Meryl's squad, and they actually get married by the end of the game. Yes, Johnny Sasaki will be behind that pillar patrolling, and he'll have a chat with Emma, and he'll say he's letting her go because it's he thinks it's bad luck for women to be on the battlefield, or he has bad luck around women on the battlefield. Obviously, in Metal Gear Solid 1, he got attacked and had his clothes stolen by Meryl. He also has severe bouts of diarrhea when he's around women. And that happens. He suddenly has to run off to the toilet. It's actually Johnny's second appearance in Metal Gear Solid 2. You may remember just after we found Ames, there was another bit where Raiden had the D mic out and he was listening into a conversation between Solidus and Ocelot. And there's a bathroom just to the left of that conversation. If you point over to that bathroom, you can hear Johnny in the bathroom complaining that he's got the runs. It's a lovely game, a lovely series. Highly recommend it. But yeah, a surprising amount of diarrhea jokes. Which, as a father of a 15-month-old, I can tell you diarrhea is not a joke. Not a joke for me anymore. It's a MIDI. Anything to say for the last a minute and a half before Emma gets across to our next fight?
I'm not sure what to add to that, to be honest. But I can tell you a bit more about the charity as well. So again, we are raising money for mine today. We have reached our bonus game goal of £150 for Balatro at the end of today. However, if we reach £200, then we will match our previous total for one of our previous events, I believe Go Fish 2023, which was our first one. So that would be fantastic to reach that. I will just say as well with Mind, please do get donating. People are in need of Mind support more than ever, with demand growing. In 2022 to 2023, they answered over 130,000 queries on their helplines. So if you can get donations in where you can, that would be very much appreciated.
Beautiful timing. We're about to go into the second vamp fight. So, like the first one, don't blink or you'll miss it. There we go. And that's vamp 2. I did use turbo for that fight. Metal Gear Solid 2 is one of the only games in the series where we're allowed to use turbo for normal gameplay. Turbo is allowed in most Metal Gears for skipping cutscenes, getting through codec calls. So I'm using turbo to get through that codec call. The main reason for it in Metal Gear Solid 2 is because you'll see it very soon. We go into a couple of torture sections. There's usually a torture section in the Metal Gear games where you have to button mash, and on much more difficult difficulty, so like European Extreme, which is the most difficult, trying to do those sections and mashing through them is nigh on impossible. I can tell you that I certainly wouldn't be able to do it. because I'm terrible at button mashing, and so mainly because we didn't want runners to get RSI and have terrible hand injuries whilst running these games over and over again. The decision was made to allow turbo, but for some reason in Metal Gear Solid 2 it's allowed at all times. So even when we're sniping, we're allowed to use turbo. The Harrier fight, at the start of the Harrier fight, we use turbo. This is an unskippable cutscene. You're going to see the first bit of this torture.
Jack the Ripper.
This is Solidus. Solidus is our main antagonist. As we learn, he was piloting the Harrier. We learn that he's the third Snake brother.
You've grown.
So we're now going to get strangled by his Dr. Octopus tentacles. So Solidus is the third Snake brother. Originally, if you know the story of Metal Gear Solid 1 and 1 particularly, you'll know that Solid Snake and Liquid Snake are cloned brothers, cloned from Big Boss, who is the protagonist of Metal Gear Solid 3. It's all very confusing. It's an interesting family tree. They were part of... originally there were 8 of them, but the other 6 were terminated early to allow the 2 of them to grow. But then after they were born, a 3rd clone was made. The whole point with Solid and Liquid is that Liquid got all of Big Boss's dominant genes, and Solid got all of Big Boss's recessive genes. So Liquid was supposed to be the perfect soldier. Turns out Solid was actually better. They then... The team behind that endeavor then decided to create a 3rd clone, Solidus, who is supposed to be a more perfect balance and better to resemble Big Boss, and that's who Solidus is. Some other interesting facts about Solidus in this game: he is Raiden's adoptive father. Which is why Raiden was chosen for this mission by the powers that be, because Solidus is his adoptive dad. And finally, he was, at one point, President of the United States of America. As if this game and the story and the characters couldn't get any more batshit insane. The lead protagonist, who has got Dr. Octopus arms, used to be the President of the United States. A fictional president, I should say. President George Sears. He is not based on a real president. I can't remember who he replaces in real life. I think knowing the timeline, his administration would have been the time of president before Bush. I think. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Anyway, we meet up with Snake, who's also got glasses on. Look at him. Look at him there, all cool and stuff. He's given us the HF blades. He's not a fan of blades, so we get it instead. We swing the blade at least once to trigger a countdown, and this is just a bit where we're just supposed to, get used to using the blade. But there's just a timer going on in the background. We just have to wait for the timer to end. I'm just trying to... Clinton! There we go. Bill Clinton... I believe in this story, George Sears replaces Bill Clinton as president. I think. So my times might be a bit mixed up there. There we go. That's the end of that section. So we're now going to go into the Tengu fight. And the Tengu fight has a skip at the end. It's very, very... Bill Clinton's Dr. Octopus. You always get shot there. Pretty much mandatory that you get shot there. The Prozac skip that we did in the tanker is exclusive to Snake. But Raiden has always had his own. There we go. Because Raiden's kick is slightly different, that kick has been known for a very, very long time to skip through that door. You can do it to any door in the game. unfortunately, there is a for every door in the game, there is an animation for opening the door and then going through the door on the other side. So when you can go through any door in the game by skipping it like that, but when you come out the other side, the door won't open and Raiden won't go through it, and you kind of softlock the game a little bit. We're now into Tengu 2. There's nothing we can do to skip this. We just have to shoot a certain number of Tengu guards as they come in. And the easiest way of doing this is we just point the stinger up in this top left corner, shoot as many as we can, and Snake will deal with the rest. We get this fish and mail. It makes it look like that we've got a game over. That is because Emma's virus has now started to affect GW, which is the name of the AI controlling Metal Gear. And that AI has also been responsible for Raiden's mission this whole time. The support team, the Colonel Campbell that he's been talking to this whole time has been an AI controlled by Arsenal Gear. And now we get some exposition from Solidus. We're actually right at the end of the game now. There's only 2 bits left. There is a boss fight against Metal Gear Ray. Against Metal Gear Rays. We're going to have to fight we have to fight an army of Rays. Because we're on very easy, we only have to fight 3 of them. The harder up you go, the more you have to fight until I believe by European Extreme you have to destroy 25 of them. And then there is the fight against Solidus, and upon the end of the fight against Solidus, that will be time. So this bit, not a lot happens. We just have to wait for Solidus's little monologue. He does have one of the best lines of the game at this point.
Solid Snake's sudden appearance, your arrival. It was obvious the Patriots were among my ranks. I had to smoke out the agent before the mission entered the final phase. You came in handy as bait.
I love that line. As bait. I love Solidus's performance is absolutely incredible. He was such an underused character. He only has a vocal performance in Metal Gear Solid 2. He kind of makes an appearance in Metal Gear Solid 4, sort of. Sadly, this is the fight. This is the fight against the Rays. It's going to swap to the stinger, fire, shoot in its mouth, shoot that one in its mouth, and that one's dead. This one's going to jump forwards, going to shoot in the leg, shoot in the mouth, and that's the fight. Very fast fight, that one.
Are you awake yet, Jack?
With another unskippable cutscene, another bit of Solidus strangling his adopted son. It's a really, really messed up family. There's Snake and Fortune, Ocelot. There's one of the Rays. And I can use Turbo so that I don't have to mash the action button, saving my precious hands. Where was that? I'd mentioned something before this. I can't remember what it was.
It's not him I want.
But if obviously Metal Gear Solid 3 is about to get a remake, and some of the voice cast have come back to redo some lines and do some extra lines. Sadly, if they do get around to doing a Metal Gear Solid 2 remake, the voice actor for Solidus passed away quite a few years ago, so it won't be able to. Presumably they'll use his old lines from this game because that's what they're doing for the most of Metal Gear Solid 3. But sadly, they wouldn't be able to get any new lines from him. The rest of the cast would still be available. Although Quinton Flynn's, who voices Raiden, has been in a spot of bother lately, so maybe not. Anyway, this is the final fight against Solidus. I'm going to stand a little bit away from him so that forces him to do his... that forces him to do that attack. Again, stand a little bit away from him, force him to fire his... There we go. Oh, what's going on? Why have you done that? That's not what I was expecting. There we go, so that's halfway done. He's now going to go into phase 2, where he relinquishes his octopus arms so that he can become faster and more deadly. And we're going to hope RNG is on our side with the amount of dashes he does. He's now going to try and dash towards me to attack me. I'm just going to block it. There we go. And he's doing a really long attack. Oh, that was a really long attack. That's not good RNG. Hopefully he just kicks me. Yay! Good RNG. And time! Oh. So yeah, that was Metal Gear Solid 2. We normally now have 9 minutes of credits, but don't worry, we don't get to watch that. I can tell you that's about a minute behind my PB. I say about a minute. I've got Live Split open. It's exactly a minute behind my PB. So for a marathon run, I'm really, really pleased with that. Yeah, that is Metal Gear Solid 2. Very easy. I say very easy. It is a very easy speedrun to pick up. If you were ever wanting to get into the Metal Gear series, this is a great place to start. I'd probably still argue Metal Gear Solid 1 is better. I'm a bit biased towards Metal Gear Solid 1. But Metal Gear Solid 2 is also very, very good. And with the Master Collection now, it's very, very accessible. So I'd highly, highly recommend it. Of course, you can go and check out MGSR. Search for Metal Gear Speedrunners on your favourite search engine to find the MGSR website and wiki. And the MGSR Discord always has loads of people ready to help teach people how to speedrun any game in the series. No matter which game in the series you want to, even if you want to run Survive, I'll help you learn Survive. If you want to run Metal Gear Survive. I don't recommend it, but I'll help you because I've done it. Yeah, that's it. I've been NickRPGreen. You can find me everywhere with NickRPGreen. Thank you very much for having me at No Fish. And yeah, keep your donations coming in for Mind. I'll hand it back over to you, Smitty.
Thanks so much. Coming up, everyone, stay right there because after the break, we are going to have a run of Just Crow Things by That One Cloud. So we're just going to take a few minutes. If you need to take a break, go do that now. We will be back in a few minutes' time. Stay there.